Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralumbaya Tejase. Hello, it's Roberta Reeves, the Gangsta Guru, and today we're going to have a little lesson on Carl Jung's concept of synchronicity and symbol. What's the difference between a symbol and a sign? Pause for a moment and just sit with that. Take a pencil and jot down your answer. For Jung, symbols were an actual language of the unconscious. When you go to sleep at night, your unconscious is speaking to you in a language of symbols. What's the difference between a symbol and a sign? A sign only has one meaning. When you see a stop sign, it means stop. Only. All right? But when you see this, it has many, many meanings. This is a card, a tarot card, of the conscious mind. The conscious mind's color is yellow. It means awake. It's a magician. Why? The mind creates reality. And where does the mind create reality? Of course, in 3 dimensions, on a table, on a mesa, length, width, and height. And it creates with 4 Jungian functions: feeling, thinking, sensing, and perceiving. There's also 4 directions: north, east, south, and west, 4 seasons. Carl Jung called that the archetype of the quaternity, the fourness of things. Now, I want to call particular attention to this part of the symbol. It's called the lemniscate. All right, it's an infinity sign turned on its side. If you've taken differential equations, you'll recognize it. And it is said that people who meditate a lot, if you could see their aura, you would see the infinity sign. It is their connection to the divine. You see the magician pulling down from the divine and creating in 3D reality. This card is a symbol. It tells many, many ways in which the conscious mind functions. I want to tell you how synchronicity and how symbols work in my life. This symbol, this lemniscate, it's called a lemniscate, or the infinity symbol in math, says many, many things. And if you look at the symbol of the new social media platform, you will see it again, only it's not exactly balanced and uniform. So I'd like for you to think about this symbol with many, many meanings, and think about the symbol of the social media platform, and see what they revealed to you. Symbols are also the language of the high priestess in the tarot. She speaks to you in images. The magician speaks to you in words, in thoughts. The high priestess visits in your dreams and speaks to you in a different language, equally valid, the language of symbols. So the tarot is a set of very ancient mystical symbols. It's called the major arcanum, the 22 images that tell the journey to the self, or back to where we came from. And it's done in symbols. It's done in the language of the unconscious. In the last video I talked to you about the WWW, the World Wide Web, as a symbol. And I also talked to you about the internet. Let's look deeply into another symbol a deeply iconic symbol in our culture, and that is this symbol right here. Meditate with that symbol just for a moment and write down what you see and what comes up for you. What I see is an apple with a bite taken out of it. And for me, that brings up a story, an ancient biblical story about a girl in a garden who was seduced into believing something and taking the bite out of the apple with a promise. Do you know who she is? Do you know the story from the Bible? That girl, Eve, got in a heap of trouble after she bit that apple. It's my understanding that the darkness speaks to us in symbols as well. And we must have our eyes open, all three of them, 2 for looking, and Ajna chakra, third eye, for seeing spiritually, to understand what is being said at a spiritual level. This war that we're in is a spiritual war, and we've got to know the language. This symbol here of the apple with the bite out is a very powerful symbol used to tell us what's happening. What's happening? Somebody took a bite out of the apple. In fact, every time you use Apple products, you take a bite of the apple. What was the promise that the serpent used in the Garden of Eden? To seduce Eve. To be omniscient, to be exactly like God. You can know everything. Tell me something. When you use these products, can you know anything and everything in the world instantaneously? I had a realization that I had allocated my memory to Google. When I couldn't remember anything, I used Google. So I have offloaded my memory onto a hard drive called Google, who is then uploading it into God knows where for God knows what reasons. But I gave it to them. It's important for me to know that in order to retain my sovereignty. So when you look at the apple with the bite taken out of it, ponder the meaning of the symbol. Ponder, what was the bite? Who took the bite? Why did they take the bite? What is the apple? What is the promise of the serpent? Ricordi, remember the stories. Remember what happened to those who take a bite out of the apple. I believe, you know, people talk about zombies and giving up your mental faculties and da-da-da-da-da. I believe zombification happens one step at a time, incrementally, small steps. You take a little bite out of the apple, just a little. Then you take more and more, and pretty soon the apple is dominating your life. I have had, with this, how I call it a download, I have had many epiphanies lately about just what the hell is going on. And this is what I understand. We're being spoken to in a language of symbols. We throw about terms like www, World Wide Web, as if web didn't mean anything, but it does mean something. We throw around Apple products as if they don't mean anything, but they do mean something. We throw around Google. What does Google have in it? Goo. What is goo? It's sticky, like the web of a spider, like the World Wide Web. Think about these things and meditate with the symbols. So the cards, the tarot cards, there's really no mystery about them. They exemplify synchronicity. Synchronicity, my understanding, occurs when the conscious mind and the unconscious mind are open to each other and they're in a dialogue, and you're no longer curtained off or closed off to the unconscious mind. Synchronos comes from the Latin for syn, means same, synonym, okay? Same. Chronos is the Greek god of time, chronology, okay? So synchronicity is when things happen at the same time. It's when, oh, I'll be thinking about a friend and then boom, that friend is at my door. Or I'll be thinking about a particular flower and then somebody brings me that flower, okay? Or I'll be thinking about the internet and the World Wide Web, and a tarantula shows up at my door. That's a real piece of synchronicity for me. That happened. I'm thinking deeply, meditating deeply on just what is the web, what is the web, why are they saying web? And I got a tarantula. And God love him, my sensei, who's my taxista here, he's at the door, and I said, Sensei, I'm afraid. I'm not afraid of much of anything but a 5-inch tarantula. I'm afraid. They're hairy. They're nasty things. He says, yeah, I'm afraid too. And I'm like, no, Sensei, it's not your turn to be afraid. I'm afraid. You be the man. You kill it. I learned a lot about tarantulas. Tarantulas cannot be stepped on because why? They carry their babies on their back. And if you step on them, all the babies scatter everywhere, even up your legs. Okay, do not step on a tarantula. Tarantulas have black blood. Think about that. Tarantulas must be burned. Okay? So I'm running around like a lunatic looking for alcohol. I don't have any alcohol. I take my nail polish remover. And Sensei douses the tarantula and sets it on fire and turns it into a crispy critter. And this is the crispy critter right here. So what happened was, in another reality, I shook the web. There was a discordance in the web. And in 3D reality, what precipitated out was a tarantula. Good to know. My friend Oscar's mother says, she's pure Mayan, she says whenever a tarantula or a serpiente, a serpent, comes in your life, in your house, it's a sign of mal de ojo, bad eyes, bad evil, bad karma, bad, not good. Let's just put it that way, not good. And so they must be burned. You must burn them. So what happened the next day? Another synchronistic thing. There was a second spider web of pure kind of gossamer web that you see right here. And embedded in that web was a cross, cruces. And I think, for me, that symbol means God is going to claim that. The cross will override the tarantula, if you will. Tarantulas have an important place in my heart because my people are from the south of Italy, and my grandfather danced the tarantella. The tarantella is a folk dance from Puglia. When do they dance this dance? They dance it when someone in the village is bitten by a tarantula. They dance and they beat the drum until the sickness leaves the person's body. That's the origin of the dance of La Tarantella. So, how would you like to dance the tarantella with me? How would you like to join the caravan of fools and sign up for my course, where we look at Carl Jung, yoga, and the tarot, and we take an archetypal journey through the major arcana, through the 22 initiations, and we try to figure out what's going on with us and what's going on with the world. I hope you will join me. Information is in the box below. Namaste.